And I realized that there were 5, 6 organizations, people, individuals who are trying to get this off the ground in their states. There's Minnesota, there's Vermont, Maine, New Jersey, Missouri. All these states have had efforts to make open air cremation legal in their states.
Hmm.
And so my beginning of this film was to make a film about that effort to
Mhm.
legalize open air cremation in the United States.
We all are gonna die. 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 Why don't we help each other prepare for it? Without death, there could not be life. I'm talking about end of life conversations, conversations about the end of life. Death and dying, grief and loss, conversations about the end of life.
Welcome back, friends. Thank you so much for joining us today. I am the Reverend Mother Ana Luisa Armendariz, and today we are excited to have a little chat with Brett Nicoletti. Brett is an award-winning documentary filmmaker whose mission is to shine a light on people and organizations who are making a positive impact. Brett has directed 2 independent films that have screened and won awards at American film festivals. Beyond his personal projects, he frequently collaborates with global brands and nonprofit organizations, helping them to tell their stories with authenticity, emotion, and joy.
So nice to have you. So glad you could come. And I'm the Reverend Wakil David Matthews, and we're really glad to have Brett with us today. In recent years, his work has focused on end of life storytelling. What began as a personal inquiry into mortality has evolved into a long term creative and spiritual exploration. Through these stories of death, courage, and community, Brett continues to pursue the truth behind what it means to be human. And we're really looking forward to hearing more about all that. So, Brett, welcome. And we'd like to begin by just asking in your life when you first became aware of death.
Well, thank you for having me. It really is an honor to be here. I've listened to your podcast a lot, and I'm a big fan. So just to be a part of it is very special for me. So thank you.
So excited.
Yeah.
Um, so death, yeah. So I did not experience death really until my mid-20s. Didn't lose anyone close to me when I was younger. Pets, right? I never had any pets. Um, And so I had a dog in my mid 20s. My then girlfriend, now wife, and I adopted a dog from the shelter.
Mm.
Beautiful little pit bull named Cinco.
Hmm.
And we I mean, we didn't have any children. I mean, he was our child. And we loved him so much. And he was just a very happy guy. And he was a very good friend of mine, like closest friend you could possibly imagine.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I watched him get hit by a car 10 feet in front of me.
Oh, wow.
Um,
Oh.
and, and the noise that came out of me was something that's never come out of me before or since. I mean, it
Mhm.
was
Mhm. Mhm.
shocking, terror, guttural, just,
Yes.
release. The next 15 minutes, he was able to come over to me. He dropped as soon as he got to me. I put my arms underneath him, and he died in my arms over the next 15 minutes.
Mm.
And it was brutal. It was
Yeah.
brutal.
Yeah.
And having not seen that or been through that before in my life, um, it was the worst thing that ever happened to me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Simply said, I was living in New York at the time, and the next morning I went into work. I took the train into Grand Central Station, and I walked out into that big giant train station, and there was a woman a cappella singing Amazing Grace
Ah,
Hmm.
in the train station, which was,
in
you
that
know,
dome, that big
mi-
space, right?
yes,
Oh.
yeah, it was magical, like I
Mhm.
cried again. And
Mhm.
I just felt, for the first time in my life, I felt something beyond what is tangible. right?
Mhm.
And
Right.
I had, I was raised Christian, but I wasn't really practicing at this point in my life, and so I basically had been ignoring death for my entire life.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
for this to happen, first of all, the shock and terror of it all, and secondly, for the song to be gifted to me as I
Mm.
walked into that train station, um, it was just quite an experience.
Mhm.
It really affected me. Another short story I'll share about my first experiences with death would be my second dog that passed away, Ruby, our beloved German Shepherd, who was a family dog. Fast forward 15 years later, we had her for 11 years. She lived a
Mhm.
full life, and we hired a service to come to our house.
Mhm.
Mhm.
She had lost control of her faculties. She was barely able to walk. Um, and about 15 minutes before the woman showed up, we're sitting in our backyard. It was myself, my wife, and our two kids. And I don't know, 200 crows were circling above our yard, which I've never seen before or since.
Wow.
Mhm.
And it was really wild. And Ruby's just
Mhm.
laying in the backyard, looking at us. And it
Mhm.
was just like, they know. How do they
Mhm.
know?
Mhm. They
How do
do
they
know.
know? You know?
Oh.
So, just amazing, experiences, and both those, and I feel like both, Ruby and Cinco gave me hope,
Mhm.
you know,
Hmm.
beyond what is, I can see in front of my face.
Oh,
So,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Wow, what a beautiful couple of stories. Thank you.
yeah.
Yeah, to have the crows come and make a visitation to "We're ready for you. Come on up." You
Yep.
know?
Yeah, we're taking you across the Rainbow Bridge, as they
Right.
say.
It's
Wow.
really amazing. I looked over at my wife, and we were both just awestruck,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was really something.
You
Wow.
know, I really appreciate that you share that with us. We just recently had another guest who mentioned his first experience was with a dog, but he
Mhm.
said it's my first lady friend, and but she happened to be a dog, and
Uh-huh.
and it was a very similar story, and
Mm.
we forget that any kind of death can shift us, can
Mhm.
shift our perception, can make us see things like we've never seen. So I'm so grateful for those two, you know, animal friends, family of yours to have brought you into this awareness,
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
right?
for sure,
and
and
I'm
I
sure
So
can't
that
say that I've experienced anything like that since. It was
Mm,
those
mhm.
2
mhm.
specific moments,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Well, so those deaths occurred, and then how does this how did their shared experience with you impact the story of who you are today and what you're doing?
so, the truth is, I after Cinco especially, but even after Ruby, I still kind of had suppressed death, kind of ignored it, right? And,
Mhm.
the only 2 people in my life who I've really who are really, really close to me, who I've lost, are my 2 grandparents, and both of their, ceremonies were, kind of traditional American ceremonies. We had a wake for an hour, and then, um, a funeral procession to the cemetery, short service at the cemetery, and that was it. And I remember in both cases, I drove away from those ceremonies, and the caskets were sitting on like a slab of astroturf in the middle of the field, and
Mhm,
I was left
Mm.
confused and
Mhm.
unfulfilled.
Mhm.
Um, and so yeah, I mean, I think in the last 5 years, I just sort of started to realize that me ignoring this thing that is a very important part of life, has, fostered a very healthy fear of, of death in my belly. Right. So,
Uh-huh.
mm,
and I think,
Mm.
so as I started to realize that, I started to I picked up a book, and I was inspired by the book that I read. The person who wrote it is a mortician,
mm,
and she just spoke about death in a way that was so real. She had a sense of humor about it,
mm.
and
Is
I
this
was
Caitlin? Is this Caitlin
Caitlin.
Bailey?
Yes, yes,
Love her.
yeah, yeah, and so. um, I as I'm reading her stories, I realize I want what she has. I want this comfort. I want to be. With this, you
Yeah.
know.
Mhm.
Hence what began this journey of um making this film, which is an ongoing process. Where still in the right smack dab in the middle of production, fundraising, trying to get the thing off the ground while shooting stuff while we can. And um but through this project, and it's a documentary feature film called Passing Through, I have spoken now with directly on camera and off camera with 10, 20, 30 professionals and practitioners who live this every day of their lives. And it
Mhm.
is helping. I
Mhm.
Mhm.
mean, and I've sort of realized that this was the
Mm.
purpose of this movie, is
Yeah.
that
Mhm.
it's a very interesting story for those who are interested in this topic, but it's really for me. It's really so that
Uh,
I can get right with what's coming.
Yeah. That's
wow.
that's great. What a great way to take care of yourself, right? Yeah.
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 Can you tell us a little more about the movie and what you've experienced and the kind of things that you're working with?
Sure. So, I was through that book. I was turned on to the Crestone End of Life Project, which is, for those who don't know, it's a nonprofit organization in Crestone, Colorado, that
Mhm.
operates the only legal public funeral pyre in the country.
Mm. Right.
Um, and so I started. They have a they have regular public Zoom calls.
Mhm.
So every month, it was every month, but now it's every quarter. They have a public call where they have an agenda. They talk about parking for the last event and any
Mm.
cremations that they may have had. But they also have Q&A, and they have a presenter. Um, and so I logged on to a call, and a woman was presenting from Minnesota, and she was trying to legalize open air cremation in the state of Minnesota.
Mm.
And so I reached out to her and I asked her
Hmm.
about what she was up to. And I realized that there were 5, 6 organizations, people, individuals who are trying to get this off the ground in their states. There's
Ah.
Minnesota, there's Vermont, Maine, New Jersey, Missouri. All these states have had efforts to make open air cremation legal in their states.
Mm.
And so my beginning of this film was to make a film about that effort to
Mhm.
legalize open
Mhm.
air cremation in the United States. And so I traveled to Minnesota and I met with a organization there. It's called Northern Pyre,
Mhm.
Mhm.
nonprofit in St. Paul, Minnesota. And then a year later, we all visited Crestone, and we
Mhm.
got a demo from the team, one of the founders, Paul Kloppenberg, and we interviewed Paul and Stephanie, who are the two founders, and we interviewed volunteers, and then we interviewed people who lost their loved ones and
Mm.
experienced the ceremony, directly with
Mhm.
for a family member. Um, and since then, the open air cremation effort, unfortunately, has not really moved.
Mm.
It's very hard, as you can imagine, to get
Yeah.
this even up for a vote.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Maine did it, and it got knocked down 12 to nothing. Like,
Mm.
didn't even make it to the next stage.
Hmm.
And so I started reaching out to people who were in the dying industry, and
Mm.
I ended
Mhm.
up connecting with a hospice in Southern California, the Southern California Hospice Organization. I should say that they're not a hospice; they're a nonprofit organization that supports hospices, and they operate a 6-bed, 24-hour care hospice
Mm.
home
Oh,
in
wow.
Mission Viejo.
Mhm.
Um, and I've been working with them for the last year and a half, and basically trying to figure out how to connect these two stories, and
Mhm.
really focusing on the dying process and honoring that as an
Mhm.
important part of your life. And then also the disposition process, which is
Right.
all very important. And so you have these two organizations that are doing things a little bit different than our standard operating procedure here that you normally hear about.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And there's a connection. So,
Yeah.
I'm finding it. I haven't found it, the and I need to spend more time filming, and that's all part of the independent film world where you're
Mhm.
trying to make a living and make a movie at the same time, and not
Mhm.
always that easy.
Yeah, it can take time.
It isn't easy,
Yeah,
yes.
we get to talk to those folks coming up. We have a schedule with
Kristen,
them. So yeah,
right.
Crestone coming up
Oh,
in
great,
a few weeks. So
great.
we'll get to speak to one of them and learn more. And I think it'll be great that we can refer people to your movie to learn even
Mhm.
more about it.
Oh, thank you.
Mhm.
Did
Yeah.
you, when you were checking into other places, internationally, did you check to see, are there places in the rest of the world that allow this? And
Well, yes, it's a Hindu tradition, right?
oh
So,
yeah,
so I think India,
sure.
and Nepal,
Hmm.
it's happening all the time there,
Mhm.
and it's by Hindu tradition, they are the cremation ceremony happens on the river,
Hmm.
and then the ashes go into the river. I think immediately following,
Mhm.
or at least it has to happen within 24 hours, or the cremation
Mhm.
has to happen within 24 hours of the death. So it's legal in those countries, and my understanding is that it's happening. If you go to these places,
Right.
you see them. They're everywhere.
Yeah.
All day long, every
Yeah,
day, all night,
yeah,
yes.
Hmm.
yeah. There was a um, Hindu man in England who was able to successfully pass a law in England. I don't know if it was a temporary law, if he got a permit or what, but he had been living in England, I think, as a professor for 50 years, and he was a devout Hindu. And
Mhm.
this was a mandatory for him.
Yeah.
He could not have this,
Right.
and he fought the courts for 15 years, and I can't remember his name, but he was successful.
Mhm.
Mm.
So those are sort of some of the international sort of
Yeah.
stories that
Yeah.
I've uncovered.
Yeah. Fascinating.
I was gonna also mention, I trained with a woman who did natural funerals in Boulder. She was my mentor for a number of years, and she told me about, a private funeral pyre on somebody's land in Boulder, and in their Waldorf community or something like that, they
Mhm.
have done their funeral pyres, and it's not been kinda tagged or anything, and I just thought that was really interesting that somehow they managed to create the space, but not have it be public. Like,
Mhm.
it's happening, but not just for everybody.
Yes, I think that's a religious organization. I've heard of it.
Oh,
I
really?
could be wrong, but
Yeah,
or there could be multiple.
right.
But yes, I had heard of another
Mhm,
organization in Colorado that had a private pyre.
Mhm. Mhm.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, or they may just be incorporated as a religious organization just for the
Right.
purpose of
Not
that kind of, yeah,
Yeah.
individuality,
yes.
like
Yes.
permission, yeah.
Yeah, that's so interesting just because there are so many people who, whether by religious desires or just personal values, would love
Mhm.
to do this, right? And it's so I think it's a devastating, awareness that not everybody has agency with how their bodies return to Earth, right? Like, it's kinda bizarre.
Yeah, and it's really beautiful the way they do it. They have
Mhm.
a 3-day home funeral, and the body is cared for by the family and KELP, the Crestone End
Mhm.
of Life Project organization itself. And it lays in state at
Right.
home, on ice, and then it is transported by the family to the pyre site.
Mhm.
And it's these beautiful ceremonies that they
Mhm.
have
Mhm.
that last 4 hours long, and people play music, and they
Mhm.
talk, and they sing, and they
Wow.
hug and cry, and it's a
Yeah.
really, like, special it's a special ceremony, and it's
Mhm.
a
Mhm.
special organization. I mean,
Yeah.
the community part of it is really like, they are taking care of each other,
Yeah.
in life and in death,
Mhm.
Mhm.
and it's a very, beautiful thing to see.
Yeah, yeah, we speak a lot about the importance of ritual and how it's lost in, like you said, the standard operating procedure. They just basically it's slam bam and pay for it, So
Yeah.
to recreate that in such a beautiful way, and I've noticed that in other more
Mhm.
alternative disposition things like the composting and cremation, that the people who do that work seem to really also value the ritual and the ceremony and create that space for people.
Mhm.
So it's something about just, having a more open way of looking at the end of life and the way where your body ends up. Either and also just burial at sea or just
Mhm.
put it in the dirt. All of those people that do that work seem to be much more, at least our experience here. My experience has been they seem much more connected and much more community oriented and much more into the ritual and ceremony,
And
which
I
is
think it's because they care and
yeah,
they put thought into it and they make it a point to plan for what they want and what their
right,
family
Right.
wants.
yeah,
And by doing that, they honor it, right?
Right.
As opposed to just, you know, all of a sudden somebody dies and you just call up the funeral home, the body's out of your house or
Right.
hospital or whatever in within an hour, and then you see it for another hour at the wake
hmm
That's
and
yeah,
it.
that's it. It's
Right.
very disconnected.
yeah,
That's
Um,
right.
yeah, yeah,
I don't this is maybe a bad example, but it feels like, over the last 150 years with the advent of, embalming,
Mhm.
this has been taken away from us,
yes,
Right.
and it has become a thing where we're separate. We keep separating and separating and separating.
Mhm.
There's a Monty Python movie called Life of Brian. I don't know if you've ever seen
Mhm.
it.
yeah,
And they're
Mhm.
walking this carriage down the street, and they're calling people to bring out their dead, and the people
yeah,
it's like
Dumping them
throwing them
in
out,
from
as
yeah,
like,
during the
from the
plague.
time of Christ or whatever.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like, I mean, the community had to take care
yeah,
The
of
dead.
the dead.
That's
hmm
And
right.
not
Mhm.
doing that now is why I'm terrified of it or have
yeah,
been
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
I've never seen it. People are dying all around me all the time,
Mhm.
of course. But I never see a dead body,
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
but of course in my neighborhood all the time.
yeah,
Right. Well, and I think that you're right. 150 years ago with the advent of embalming, the Civil War and how we were trying to bring our loved ones' bodies back to their homes. It shifted the priority of being with, like, the family to being in the funeral home with, there being, like, a process that had to take place,
hmm
right? And I think people just kinda thought, "Well, this is how we do it now. This is safer." And somewhere we got into this idea that a decedent is potentially harmful, right?
hmm
Like, nobody wants to touch a dead person. Nobody wants to have them around, or people always ask me, "Isn't it gross? Like, people smell bad? What's the thing?" And the funny thing is, it's like, it's not that big a deal, my people.
yeah,
Like, but having these conversations, having your movie be pulled out into the world like a baby too, like, push it out there and show people and tell people so that they have agency around this. We
yeah,
can't they don't know what they are missing until they recognize what they're missing.
That's right.
exactly,
That's right.
yeah.
And I think it's just important that we all experience it, you
Yeah,
know.
Mhm.
exactly. Like you said, we have no way of coming to grips with it if we don't even see it. Yeah.
That's
So,
right.
yeah,
Yeah.
or don't
So,
pretend not to see it maybe.
Right.
yeah. So, not seeing the reality of everybody's gonna die, what other challenges do you find in your project with your project?
So I think like I was touched on it before a little bit. It's, the challenge of like making a living while trying to make this independent film. It's not
Yeah.
it's not the easiest thing in the world. So what ultimately will happen is, I'm a freelance director and editor. And what will ultimately happen is I'll be working on the film for, let's say, 2 months, and then I'll get booked on a project for 2 to 3 months, and then I'll come up from that project and I'll be like, Where was I? I
That's right. That's
It'll
right.
take me 2 weeks just to get back to
Right.
where I was when I last left it. And then maybe another project comes up. So it's like this never
Mhm.
ending cycle of,
Mhm,
2 steps forward, 1 step backwards. And it ends up taking years.
mhm,
Part of that is great
Mhm.
because as time passes, my perspective on the story
mm,
comes into
Mhm.
light a little bit more. And the other thing about it, my previous films that I've made, um, you're always as you're making it, it's very challenging. You're working really hard, and then you get to the end, and you have something that you really like and you're really proud of, and it's great. But then it's over, right?
Mm.
Mhm.
And you don't get to do it anymore. And so now I keep telling myself, and as frustrated as I get, and the other challenge would be is just like the self doubt, right? Like
Mhm.
Mhm.
I'm no good. This isn't working. All that stuff that happens to anybody who writes anything,
Mhm.
Mhm.
paints anything, Um, but I keep reminding myself that this is the good part.
Mhm.
Like my experience of speaking with Michelle or Paul or Stephanie, going and meeting with these people, spending a day with. Last weekend I spent a day with a woman who lost her mother in May, and interviewed her and talked to her about it, and the hospice director who referred her to Michelle's space. And it's a gift. I
Mhm.
mean, I'm so grateful for it. I'm
Yeah.
so
Mhm.
grateful that these people are sharing their stories with me.
Mhm.
And so I have to keep reminding myself of
Yeah.
that.
Right. Right.
Brett, I also have to tell you, this is sacred work.
Mhm.
This is very sacred work. Imagine that you're like a pastor and you will never see or hear the good things that come out, but when you finish your movie, you will still continue to talk about death. I promise you that. Because that's like once in, you never get done. Like death comes up every single day of my
Yeah.
life now,
Yeah.
and I'm very comfortable with it. People still call me, text me, asking questions, and that'll happen to you too. So this child will be born into this world, this movie, and it will grow and it will collect its own people to help it, move along. But
Mhm.
you will never stop talking about this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Guarantee
Yeah.
you.
I
Yeah.
I, I hope not, because I really am hooked. Like
Yeah.
it's a special, like you said, sacred
Mhm.
topic, and I find everybody who takes it seriously with their whole heart
Mhm.
fascinating and
Yeah.
Mhm.
amazing people.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. That's our experience too. We've done we're close to 90
Yep.
episodes, and I don't think there's been one that we haven't
Yeah.
come away just going, "Oh my God, there's so many amazing people out there," you know?
mm,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and there's also the ripple that's happening just by your putting that
Mhm.
energy and making that intention and being out there talking to people and getting it going. That's going to have an effect
Yes.
on many,
Everybody does
many
it.
more people than you'll ever know. So,
Mhm.
yeah, so just huge gratitude for doing that work.
Yeah. And Brett,
for
do you
sure.
have a short already finished?
So, not there's a trailer for the film.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
is that what you're asking? Is it
Yeah. Well,
specific
a
to the
trailer
topic?
or a short
Yes.
because
So on the
yeah.
website, there's a trailer.
Oh, great.
It's a 3.5 minutes, so it's more like
Yeah.
a teaser.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, it's on the
Yeah.
website.
I just, and I only ask you that because I have another friend who's an independent filmmaker who's been working on her film for like 5 years. And,
Hmm.
she's also doing the same thing, works and then comes back and does work. And, but what we did last year, she created a short and that was like, 45 minutes piece. And we ended up finding a lot of theaters who would host little like check it out kind of things, and that's how we're doing fundraising last year
Hmm.
to get done for the final piece that we needed to film. So that's
We're worth thinking about, right? Like, saying you had successful fundraising campaign.
yeah. But
Oh,
part
that's
of it
great.
too is that there's an independent film, like the Denver Film has its own theater, and
Mm.
we were able to get rent the theater out with like I don't know 150 seats for like very very minimal amount of money. And then, in Boulder, that she had 2 nights out there where they also hosted, a viewing, and she took it to the reservation, and I think she took it to one other place, but it's kind of like you need to find somebody who has the same passion and just go and just keep showing it and talking about it and passing the hat, and people will show up. Like, it's a thing, you know?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
And
for
Yeah.
you're
sure,
gonna need it
for
to
sure.
finish it up.
I need it. And the fundraising part is definitely a weakness. And I am,
Mhm.
but I've got a friend who's helping me out,
Good.
and we're just slowly ticking away at it. But we're going to launch a fundraising campaign. It's officially underway. We have a fiscal sponsor, the Utah
Good.
Film Center, which is so now we can accept tax free
Oh, good.
donations.
Yeah.
And so we're ready to go. It's just a matter of me finishing this current job that I'm on so I can
Yes. So
actually announce it.
if any listeners are out there who are film buffs, like, go to his website and
Yeah,
let's
there'll
get
be
this
an
done so that we could,
opportunity.
so that we can all watch it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
this will probably post sometime in October, so by
Oh,
then it should
perfect.
be ready to go, and people can go on and not only see what you've produced this far, but also contribute and participate.
Mhm.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Well, so it's really fascinating to think about this journey you've been on. Has it changed your sense of fear around death?
It has. So I think I'm now more comfortable with the actual end, right? Right? Maybe I'm not all the way there yet, but I feel better than I did, let's say, 5 years ago.
Hmm.
Uh-huh.
So the idea of like there being no more Brett in physically in this
Uh-huh.
space, I'm coming to terms with it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I would say if I had a fear of the end of life, it's more about just physical and mental decline and
Hmm.
just
Uh-huh.
being concerned about what that looks like. I watched my grandfather go through Alzheimer's 4 or 5 years, and it was just brutal.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It was really hard on all of us, especially my parents, and my father's sister and her family, and um, the person. They are there, of course, but it just
Mhm.
Yeah.
there's no recognition of who they used to be, and
Right.
Right.
the thought of that happening to me and having my children, family to have to see that, you know, that doesn't make me feel great.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. We actually just heard of and published in our newsletter a new study going on at, I think, where was it? Oh, at the PSU, Portland State University. They just starting a study and looking for people who are caregivers of Alzheimer's patients to do this study and talk about the impact on caregivers. So, yeah, it's we've run into that many times, and we've
Yes.
counseled people many times that have gone through it, and it's one of the hardest things anybody goes through, I think, to
Yeah,
the end of life. So, yeah, thank
for
you for
sure.
sharing that. Yeah.
So, Brett, what do you wish we had asked you?
I wish you asked me if I had any questions for you.
Oh, we've never had that one, have we,
That's a
Matthew?
good one. Yeah.
So just curious, you're both, you've been clearly very present in this space for a long time. What have you, if anything, have you learned about death since you started the podcast?
Oh, wow. Can
Mm.
we sum it up?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. I mean, even just
Yeah,
answer it
yeah.
however you'd like. Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, the kind of the eye-opening things or the unique things have been the many ways people approach this. So
Mhm.
we've had people doing puppet stories, we've had people doing music. We had somebody from Ireland teaching or learning about the really ancient, what they called revenant songs, which are the songs
Mhm.
to the dead. We've had many people talk about their connection with people who have died after the fact, and those kind of things just really have been uh, very impressive and very just also just like we said, every single time we go, my God, there's people are just so amazing doing all this work.
Mhm.
So
Like rich in zero awareness, right?
yeah,
Like a little
yeah,
bit.
there's
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's so much, and I think I'm delighted by I think I know a lot about death and dying because I've been doing this for a long time, and then we learn about supporting people who are trans through the dying process, right, and what that means, and then my brain just kind of is like, you know, and, but I think for me personally, every single week when we are with people, I'm just so delighted that another person out there is being that weirdo at the dinner party, talking about death, and as people are answering questions, I kind of reflect those things every week, and I love how we're all kind of in the same place, right? Like, we're all just doing the best we can. We wanna share this information because we've had this awakening about the end, and we wanna be
Yeah.
like, listen, like so,
Hmm.
yeah,
Hmm.
I get it every week I ground more into, I can't wait to die. I'm like,
I want to see what happens.
I do. I'm so
Wow.
excited. I'm like,
Amazing.
"What's on the other side?" Yeah,
That's
no,
amazing.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm excited to go on this journey too. It's not like
yeah.
my kids are
Yeah.
like, "Please, like, don't, like, die too soon," and I'm
Right.
like, I will go when I'm meant to go, but I want you to know that I my heart is open, and I'm just like, okay,
Embrace
you
it.
know,
Yeah, and
like,
embracing it.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, when
Wow.
you mentioned the
That's beautiful.
trans thing, I think one of the other things that has really been impressive is the different cultural relationships with death and dying and
yes,
ceremony that we've heard
yes,
from many, many people. That's
mm-hmm.
also been really enlightening and inspiring.
Yeah.
So, thanks for that question.
For
That's a
sure.
very good question. Yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome.
um, the one thing before we end, we usually ask if there's a way that you take care of
Oh,
yourself.
I
If
missed it.
you like resource yourself when you're having a hard time. And I'm sure with all these things you've talked about, there must be some times you're like, oh my God, how can I do another day? Right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a bit of an exercise buff. Specifically, I'm a trail runner.
Mm.
So we've got lots of great trails. Yeah, oh, yeah. You too? Amazing. Yeah, yeah. We've got lots of great trails here in Pasadena, San Gabriel Mountains. But one thing that I think is germane to this conversation is that I am 2 blocks below the Eaton Canyon entrance, which is where the big fire was in
Mm-hmm.
January, the Eaton
Oh.
fire. Our house was miraculously saved, but the canyon, all the trails that I run on daily, every other day, burned severely, as
Wow.
everybody saw on their television. And they have since closed those trails and
Mhm.
have not reopened them. So I am mourning
Yes.
my loss of my nature. I mean, this
Mm-hmm.
is I mean, I'm not kidding when I say it's my second home. I've
Mm-hmm.
thought about having my ashes spread in that canyon because
Right.
it's
Mm-hmm.
such a sacred space for me, and to not be able to go in there and release the stress of my life and
Mm-hmm.
think about it's very meditative, as I'm
Mhm.
sure, and Louisa, you
Mm-hmm.
would agree. I don't wear headphones or anything like that. I just
Nope.
like to listen to my feet and the
Yeah.
birds and whatever else is
Me
going on.
too.
Yeah, and it's very special. And so I hope, if I could, if any of the powers that be at the Angeles National Forest is listening, please let us back in.
Yeah.
Oh, I hope that
Well,
happens. Yeah.
let me offer this to you too, Brett. There is a loss. There's a death there, not only for you, but the
The
Eden.
community.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well,
Oh
the
yeah.
animals, the trees, the
Yeah.
plants, right?
Oh yes.
So maybe find a way to go right to the boundary and do ceremony and say, I bear witness to your loss as well, because we always think like, oh, I don't get, because I have the same feeling, like, oh, I can't go into my favorite places. Well, it's also missing you. That
Mm.
space misses you too.
Mm.
Yeah.
So, that's a way for you to start connecting with, what does ceremony mean? What does ritual mean, and bearing witness to your life?
Yeah. Beautiful.
That's a
Beautiful.
great that's a great suggestion. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a great pleasure and a great honor to spend time with you today.
Mhm.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
You
you.
you brought us a quote you could read for us and maybe tell
Yes.
us a little bit about it.
I did. So this is from my friend Michelle Wolfesteg, who's been my friend for a year and a half now. She's the director of the Southern California Hospice Foundation.
Mm.
I've talked to her on the phone dozens of times at this point. I've sat down and interviewed her now on camera, I think 3 times, and then B-roll. And
Hmm.
has an incredible story. If anybody wants to look her up, she's a stroke survivor herself. She had a near-death experience, and that experience propelled her career in hospice.
Mm.
Cool.
And it's a really heroic story that
Hmm.
she tells. She's written a book. And so this is a quote that she said to me during one of our interviews. And it is, "You can't live until you know that you're dying. And we're all dying. From the minute that you're born, you're already moving towards your death.
Hmm.
Once you realize that and you know that every day is a gift, it makes you live fuller and love more."
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. Amen to that. Sounds like
Yep.
somebody we should have on the podcast.
I
Maybe
was
you
gonna
need.
Yes.
say, he should introduce us.
Yeah.
Brett,
She
Should,
w- she
hook us
will she
up.
will absolutely do it. Yeah, just say the word.
yeah.
Okay.
Introduce
Yeah,
us to us. That'd be great.
Yeah.
for
Well,
sure.
thank you
I
so
will.
much, Brett. Really appreciate you and your work,
Yeah.
and really looking forward to that film when it finally gets done.
Yeah. Blessings
Thank
on
you.
your journey.
Yeah.
Definitely. And holler at me if you need anybody from Denver Film, because we also have a little film series here. Maybe we could sneak you in.
Collaborate. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's do it.
All
Well,
right.
thank you both. Appreciate you as well, and have an amazing day.
You
Thank
too.
you.
Take care.
Thanks. Bye.
Adios.
Thank you for joining us today. Please stick around after the credits for our afterthoughts, and it helps our numbers if you stay until the end. We want to thank my children, Nate, Vivian, Nina, and her fiance Asher, for the excellent opening song, and a special thanks to our awesome editor, Sam Zemke, who is also a guest on our podcast. You can listen to him on Season 4, Episode 5. Also, thank you to Charles Heaston, the composer of the original music you are listening to now.
And of course, thanks to you, our audience, and all of our amazing guests. Please come back next week for another great episode. Share this with your friends, family, and community. We hope you will subscribe and follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, and Substack. Each guest's additional information will be found in the podcast notes. And of course, if you have a good end-of-life story to share, please reach out. We are always eager to hear from you.
Yeah.
Of course. Of
Yeah.
course, another fabulous human being who is
Yeah.
like, I feel like we're going to be the cool kids someday. Like,
Yeah, the
so
ones who are able to do this, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I feel like, so many people are coming into the death and dying arena and they all kind of like smack into it in different ways. Like, oh,
Yeah.
whoops. And then here they are. And suddenly we're like in this circle of people who are like responding with their whole essence to dying.
Yeah.
And I think they're pretty freaking cool.
I think
Like,
so too. And
I'm
wow,
like,
making a film, dedicating so much time and
yeah,
energy and love
I
into
know.
to that film, and wow, and others doing that other work. But I mean, just what I love is says that work has brought him so much closer to
Yes,
understanding it and being with it and noticing it. And yeah, we all need some way to get there, and that's a wonderful way to get there. Create
it is a
something,
wonderful,
and like our
yeah.
last guest, create art. So
Yep. Well, and the fact that it's impelled him to like go and explore the open air cremation in the
yeah,
States. It's like,
yeah,
oh, like he like went there. He's created a connection, which I find just
brilliant.
phenomenal because that's what
Yeah,
we all need to do is just connect more and to help one another this way.
yeah.
So,
Amen. Much
all
love.
right.
Adios, my dear.
Adios. Ciao.